So in the first two series, we've talked a lot about drift, the doom and gloom of drift, what it's going to bring to our lives. Now we're going to start solving the problem. And we're going to go through the 3 different key factors. And the first one is evolve. And by the time you get to the end of this video, you are going to understand what it means to evolve from the identity that you are right now to the identity that you need to become to achieve the mission that you so desperately want. So if you think about episode 2, what we've just gone through, if you've just watched it, we talked about the severe consequences of that drift. We talked about the guy who lost his wife because he drifted into his business mission. We talked about myself and the heartbreak of not going up to the green and making memories with my kids. We talked about the CEO who struggled with his health, his mental bandwidth, his emotional conditioning because he was burnt out leading a team to success. All of these guys at the front end looked like they were successful on paper, but inside they were dead, they were empty, they were lost, they had no mission. So there are 3 different components to the word evolve and what it means in your journey to become the man that you want to be, to lead yourself further. So the first thing that we've got to understand about evolving, it's not about hacks. It's not about streaks. It's not about quick wins. It's not about how quickly can I change. And that is a mentality that we have to get out of. If you are going to evolve, we are doing it forever. This is an all-in life-changing experience. And we've got to evolve you from a man that you used to be to a man that you want to be, a man that needs to show up and be the king of his home and the leader of his business. Number 2, it's very much about changing belief systems. It's changing about your standards. It's changing your identity. So the man that you are today will have a set of beliefs, and you will believe that either you can change or you can't change. You'll have a belief system whether you think it's going to be hard or whether it's going to be easy. You have a belief system about other people, about the way that things run. And if the way that you are running right now in that cycle of chaos that we spoke about in episode 1, and you are stuck in that cycle, it's going to be very difficult to break you out of it, because the thing that we want to do is get into that cycle of structure, routine, and systems. That needs new habits. That means new routines. That means new train of thinking. That means new standards. That means a new message that's going into your brain. And that does not take 28 days. That takes a minimum of 365 days just to get to the point where you've outgrown the old version of yourself to be ready to go bang. Now what? Where do we go from here? And how do I build on this new belief system, these new standards, and this ingrained purpose that I've now built over the last year? And the last part of this, before you start acting differently and showing up differently, you've got to believe in a different version of you. And the biggest ROI that I see with men is that when their wives start noticing them showing up more, when their kids start running to the door and screaming daddy, when they wake up and the first thing they want to do is a cuddle with their dad, when your wife greets you at the door and kisses you and asks you how your day was, rather than treading on eggshells wondering what mood you're going to be on. You have to see yourself as that guy. You have to now visualize those things that are really important to you. For many months, I was stuck in that cycle where I came home and nobody even noticed I was home. I had spent so much time, energy, and focus trying to build and provide that I wasn't present. So I visualized I wanted my kids to run to the door because they were excited to see me. I visualized my wife wanted to come and see me, wanting to be intimate with me, wanting to connect with me. Those are important things that I built upon, and that was the evolution, that was the evolve phase of the whole process of me continuously changing. And that is the thing, when you're on the journey, the person that you're going to be at the very start of our Mission 365, and for the men that join our Mission 365, they are a different man from day 1 to day 365 because they have evolved their identity, their belief systems, who they are, what they stand for, what they want, and how they are going to show up. You no longer tolerate low standards average mentalities, or chaos in your life. So there are 3 different key frameworks within Evolve that we need to double down on. And these are exercises that you can do to recognize where you are and what you need to do at this point right now, at the chapter that you are. And I would say that if you've got this far in this video, you're in chapter 1. So the first thing that we have to do is a life audit. A life audit is kind of laying out the lay of the land and knowing exactly where we are. Because we can think in our head all of the problems that we have, but we need a structure, we need a routine, and we need a system to be able to do that. That's why we created the Mission Balance Code, which are 5 pillars that we live by: health, relationships, personal development, business, and fun. And what we need to do is understand where we're at. So 0 is that we have no time or energy commitment into it. A 10 is the highest level. But there are no 7s, because 7s are too easy to mark. And the best way to be able to audit yourself is look at the last 6 months of how you have been living your life and operating. What would you score yourself when it comes to time, energy, and focus invested in each one of those pillars? It's going to be an eye-opener. But you're at chapter 1, this is where we start. So the second framework is non-negotiables. This is something that we build in men over the first induction of the 28 days. It's about providing non-negotiable structures, routines, and systems that help you lead yourself to the next level. These are the things that will carry you to the next level chapters of your mission. Things such as your morning routine, your planning routine, your boundaries around work, the way that you speak to yourself, your fitness training program, and when you train. All of these things become non-negotiable, like when you brush your teeth in the morning and in the evening. That's non-negotiable. You would do it because you know the consequences. What we need is a sequence, a foundation of actions that are going to get you out of the trenches and onto the playing field where you are ready to operate. These are your fallbacks. These are non-negotiable. The last framework is your environment upgrade. Now in a Mission 365, what we have done is produced a group of highly motivated, highly actionable men who are ready to get to the next step. What we have done is stop accepting people that don't show up. We are looking for people around us to be able to lift us, inspire us, lead the way. So it's not just reliant on me, but it's reliant on a community. Because when you hang around with average people that moan and just do enough, guess what you're gonna do? You're just gonna do enough. You're gonna have an average mentality. But if you're looking at Joe Bloggs, who's in a group and who is smashing it, they're inspiring you to raise your standards and raise your game and help you understand more about what you are doing. So look around you. Who are the people you're hanging around with? What are the messages that you're listening to? And how do you get into an environment that is an upgrade? But there's an awful lot of information in there. So we're going to start really simple off the back of this video. And you're going to answer 3 key questions. Write down just one area of your life that you are drifting right now. What is happening? Why are you drifting? What are the consequences if you continue to go down this path? The one thing that I want you to do is create a non-negotiable habit that is going to replace that one thing that is drifting. So you can start super simple. So if you are waking up late and you are drifting in your mornings, set the non-negotiable to wake up 1 hour earlier than you normally do to gain some control of your time, energy, and focus. If you have drifted in your health, your one non-negotiable is to make sure that you train 4 times a week for at least 30 minutes a session. And then the last thing I want you to do is share it with someone, because it's all well and good telling yourself that this is what you're going to do, but you must be held accountable. You can tell your wife and she can challenge you. You can join a group, they can challenge you, but find people, environments, communities that are going to hold you accountable to doing what you said you would do. So the Evolve section within our Mission 365 system is when lads join us for our initial 28 days. And what we do is strip down old behaviors, old patterns, old habits, old routines, and we start to build a new identity from day one. And the accountability that we have towards those guys is the thing that keeps bringing them back to that new identity. And as we go over those 28 days, the belief becomes stronger, the want and need to shift becomes greater, and you start to move more on a direction that you want to be on, more aligned with a mission, more fire in the belly, more edge, and less drift, which is exactly what we are trying to achieve here. Once you've evolved your standards, the next step is execution. Because without a system, even the best laid out plans will fall down. And that's exactly what we're going to cover in episode 4. We're going to look at how you execute your standards, your structure, your routine, and your systems. And you can watch that here right now. And if you want to know more about our 28-day induction program on a Mission 365, all you need to do is click the link in my description and drop me the word ready in my inbox, and I'll send you the details.